we had a lot of doors, and personally had a lot of doors closed in my face coming up, you know? And it's important not to let that, you know, dishearten you. Your time will come. If you're truly passionate about what you do, and you know, the talent is there. Obviously, the talent has to be there.
Sure.
There are a lot of people who get by without it, with just the show and the smoke and mirrors. But for me, talent is kind of primary. You have to be able to execute, and then you have to be able to do it with kindness and with love and with positivity. And it will, in my humble opinion, it will always pave its way back to you. I love a walk to work as well. The last few gigs, I've been able to just bop to the gig. It's so nice.
Oh man, that's a dream.
Yeah.
Oh, Asad,
My brother.
thanks for coming and sitting with me, bro.
Oh my gosh, what an absolute pleasure.
It's great, man. I mean, we've known each other for years, but we haven't sat down like this
No, never.
at all. We're trying to get a sit down actually, but calendars are quite hard to manage. I think the last time we spoke, I mean, firstly, we're in Amalfi Coast because of you, so thank you. I mean, what a luscious view.
Of course, man.
Beautiful place. And then the last time we were in contact, I don't know if NDAs were signed, so maybe I'll edit this out if not.
No, mine.
But yeah, you got me out to Jordan for a royal wedding.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was absolutely fabulous, brother. I mean, you're, needless to say, killing the game. Do you know what I mean? For a long time, you've been getting these high-end gigs, big clubs in London, traveling the world, you know, married with children, and you are living the dream. But I want to know, how did that come about?
Good question. How long you got?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got a gig in about 20, 25 minutes, so not too long.
So I was very fortunate to get a great head start in that my brother was a DJ. And when I was, he bought me decks when I was 14.
Okay.
He was at that time playing in kind of in the West End, playing in nightclubs, and I immersed myself in the practice of, in the art of DJing.
Yeah.
I was locked in.
Yeah.
I didn't leave my bedroom for months,
Mm.
you know, and one day it just clicked, and it clicked quite quickly. And then from then, obviously, I had the opportunity to go with my brother on gigs, even when I was young, you know, 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So I remember actually my first memory of actually me playing in a nightclub was it was a club called Penthouse in Leicester Square. It was at the top of a building. And my brother was DJing and he was promoting the night. And I was there in the booth, just kind of watching him and trying to learn all that I could, take as much in as I possibly could. And he had to go and sort some issue on the door, some promoter issue. This person wasn't getting in, that person needed a table or whatever. Yeah. And he said, if I'm not back in time, I need you just to mix this next track. I said, cool, I got this. And he wasn't back in time. I mixed that next track, and kind of, you know, the rest is history, really. I kind of completely fell in love with the reaction that I got from dropping that track.
Yeah.
You know, and I think every performer, every DJ, every singer, every musician kind of chases that first feeling of that energy being reciprocated. You've done something that people appreciate, you play a song that people love, and you get this instant reaction, which then gives you that kind of instant gratification.
Yeah.
And I think everything up until now was kind of really innocently just chasing that. And everything from there is kind of just grown organically. You know, I think the first thing that's really of the utmost importance to me within the agency that we have and with all of the people that we work with is that we lead with kindness, you know, lead with kindness, you know, obviously be absolutely amazing at what you do.
Sure.
And kind of, you know, the rest will, I believe, without needing to do too much marketing or anything like this, will fall into place.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of how it works. Like I was talking to Nate Holder about this.
Love him.
What a great guy Nate is. What a great guy. Not just a musician, an author,
legend,
an orator. Like
my gosh.
He's one of my really good friends. And we were talking about the musician experience from the church perspective, and that is every Sunday you're learning from the elder musicians. Do you know what I mean? So you're not necessarily going the music journey alone. You know, like a teacher who's teaching you the way, and you're sort of there, and you've got to do your rehearsals at home. You're frequently being shown how it's done at a high level, and you had a similar experience with your elder brother.
I did, yeah.
So that really, I guess, supported you from when your first gig is Penthouse Central London.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
At
it's
the
pretty
age
mad.
of 14?
Yeah, I was 15 at the time.
15.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely not legal
Yeah,
probably, but
definitely not.
Oh, that's fantastic. So fast forward a bit. So you had the passion to play, you get the taste of what it's like to move a group of people, and then you're at the helm of that. You're behind the decks, they're on the dance floor. But it's a massive responsibility as a DJ to be able to keep the environment going, keep the people moving. So how do you curate a set? From that point, you've got the taste of getting that reaction, but then how do you, not mix one track, but an hour's worth of tracks, 2 hours?
Yeah, I mean, there's two kind of thought processes here. There's firstly, obviously, nightclubs in which, where I got my education, where I started, and more often than not, in a nightclub, you've got to play from like 10 p.m. until 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So you've got to take people on a journey, So you've got a lot of time to really take people on that journey. And really the way I always put it in that respect, and kind of in the other thought process as well, but I'll come on to that afterwards, is that you're constantly feeding off energy that you're getting.
Yeah.
So you'll play a track, and I think part of being a DJ, most DJs, if they're worth their money, can mix two songs together. If they can't, then they shouldn't call themselves a DJ. That's kind of like basic number one. But I think what separates the good DJs from the great DJs is their ability to read people and be very intuitive and kind of stay switched on to what's going on in a crowd. So you drop a song and you see that it starts kicking off, that the reaction is major, then you kind of have an idea of where you need to carry on.
Yeah.
Or, conversely, you drop a song that doesn't hit, and then you kind of know, okay, firstly, let me get out of this song quickly. And secondly, let me stay away from similar songs, maybe similar artists. So it's very much about kind of feeding off the energy that you're getting from people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thought process in nightclubs. The second one, and this kind of evolved as the agency grew, is, as entertainers, as musicians, as artists in the private event space, we're kind of booked to provide a very bespoke and highly professional service. So we take our time to understand the client's requirements, their preferences, what do they like, what do they hate, and we we'll have a call with the client, they'll send us the playlist, and we'll then gauge from that kind of where we need to exist on the night. Obviously, at that point, a small chunk of the work is done.
Yeah.
Then you have to kind of take that and, like you said, turn that into a 4-hour set, a 5-hour set, a 3-hour set, whereby you're taking people on a journey, feeling their energy, reacting to them, and kind of making that event special and unforgettable for everyone. Ultimately, I always say this to everyone and my clients. Every DJ's, especially in the private event space, every DJ should aspire to pluck on everyone's heartstrings just a little bit. You want every single person to leave going, that DJ spoke to me.
Yeah.
That DJ played that one song that I absolutely love. And that was all I needed, whether it is the 80-year-old gran or the 5-year-old kid. So that's always kind of my thought process. I need to connect with every single person in this room at one point or another.
Yeah.
It might not happen with everyone all night, but as long as you find pockets, throughout the entire evening where you've hit that group, you've hit that group, you've hit that group, you've hit that group, they will ultimately all come together at the end of the night.
And we've got evergreens, right? I mean, it doesn't matter the crowd you're in front of, whether they're young or old. Play Never Too Much, and it pops off. I can't tell you the amount of times I have played that song. Do you know what I mean? But then also, there's always a new way to interpret it, because it's one of those songs that just stand the test of time. True. So you've got that. Now, you made mention to your agency, NAQ Entertainment, and my question would be, as a agency provider, what do you look for in your musicians and artists when they come to you?
Good question, actually. Honestly, the first thing that it's funny because this thing grew very organically.
Mm-hmm.
I never set out to go, I want to create a music agency.
Sure.
I started DJing, I started building really good relationships with planners who would then ask me, oh, Asad, I know you're DJing this wedding for us next week at the Dorchester. Do you have a saxophonist that you can bring with you?
Yeah.
I'll get on the phone call to Tashomi and say, yeah, of course, got one of the best ones in the country, no problem.
Yeah.
It kind of happened like that. And so really, I never sought to look for anything special.
Mm-hmm.
It was all based off relationships and connection.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to start playing in an industry where all of the musicians who I worked alongside were absolute weapons,
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was very easy. A planner was asking me, oh, can you bring a saxophonist or a trumpet player?
Mm-hmm.
And I would just call a friend who I built a relationship with, who I knew was amazing, and just kind of brought them with me. And then it all kind of grew organically from that. And then ultimately, I kind of kept in that same thought process as we grew. And I called upon the people who I'd built relationships with and people who I had trust with to, reach out to the people who they had relationships with and people that they trusted. Because ultimately, my wife and business partner will attest to this. We get emails constantly every day of musicians and singers, and we respond to all of them and say thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
We're currently kind of not looking for any more talent, but it kind of boils down to that for me, really, because ultimately anyone that we send out to an event or a gig or a club or whatever it is, they're going to be a representation of us. So they could be the best player in the world, but if they're not kind, carrying ego, just all round not being positive,
Mm-hmm.
then I just don't care how good they are.
Yeah.
They have to purvey a certain level of, they need to purvey a certain level of positivity and kindness to make sure that they leave a good impression on everyone that they cross paths with at that event, because that's ultimately what will lead to you being booked again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, naturally. And that's the conundrum of the game. It goes down to sometimes who you know.
Yeah.
But then not only who you know, like you rightly said, it's the energy you're putting out. And I'm a big believer in karma. I'm a big believer in yin and yang. And if you are, like you said, if you've got the talent and you are brilliant at what you do, but you can't necessarily hold a conversation, or you don't have the conversational skills of how to hold a space, or let's say you're not massively social. And I wouldn't even necessarily say a musician has to be overly social, because I know some great players who get booked so many times and maybe they have just certain ways about them where they need their own space. To be extroverted as a musician, often you find these people are also introverted. So you don't necessarily have to be a social butterfly. Do you know what I mean? But definitely in our conversation with Nate, one of the things he was saying, which struck him about the music game, was when you get into it, you realize most of the time that you're working, you're not working, you're being social.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, most of this trip that we're on here is going to be social. Then we're going to do a couple hours at a wedding. And then, do you know what I mean? The rest of the time. So definitely you have to have the skill, but you've also got to have the personability. So my question to you would be, as a up and coming musician, someone who's cutting their teeth in the industry, they're coming to establishments or coming to agencies and asking for that opportunity, but they're not getting it for whatever reason, because like you said, hey, the books are full. And at the moment we're working with a key group who we've trusted, who we know we can work with. How do you cut through?
True. Good question, to be honest. And it completely resonates, because, despite what people may think, I'm not the most social person.
Mm-hmm.
The DJ booth has been my safe space.
Yeah.
And you will very seldom catch me in a nightclub unless I'm working. I mean, now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I barely play nightclubs anymore at all.
Yeah.
Just the box. It's because we look after all the DJs there. But you know, to that point, you know, it resonates and I empathize. I think it's important to be your authentic self.
Yes.
I understand some people need their space to just gather themselves before they go out and perform. And, you know, I've got some amazing artists who we work with, who I'm so blessed to work with. One being a guy called Michael Duke.
And we were talking about the same crime. No, it don't hurt when it rains now. I learned my lesson at the same time. Ooh, where did it go? Back on 74. Call this place my home. Never gonna cry anymore.
Who's just one of the most talented people I've ever met.
He's a genius.
He's very, very special, and he's that way. You know, when he's backstage before a gig, he needs a space.
Yeah.
He needs his headphones on. He needs his calm, and you have to respect that. You know, as long as they're kind, as long as everyone is being kind, and it's like no one's being giving anyone aggro or making difficulty for anyone, or just really disrupting the energy in the group. You can do whatever you've got to do. Everyone's different. We've got to respect that. But then the minute he comes on stage, it's like it is one of the biggest personalities I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been lucky enough to witness some absolute greats, you know, the likes of Shaka Khan, Nile Rodgers, you know, so many amazing artists, Usher, who I've seen, you know, literally feet away from me. I would put him in that same camp, you know, he's really very special. But in terms of kind of cutting through and making a name for yourself within an industry that has already kind of got its established artists, and, you know, what would someone need to do? Really, you know, I would say, I would kind of go back to my original point. You know, whenever it is that you get called for a gig, because you never know. And it happens to me all the time to this day, you know. I say a planner who we've been trying to work with our bands and our artists and DJs who, you know, won't give us any airtime, won't even respond to our emails. I will then get booked on a gig with that planner directly via the client.
Yeah.
And I go and I'm my genuine self, my kind, loving, you know, energetic self, and I create no issues for anyone. I don't give anyone aggro. I don't make life difficult for anyone. I just go and I do my job to the best of my ability, and I just, you know, I make sure that I connect with everyone in that room and absolutely do my best to absolutely kill my set, you know, just smash it. And then more often than not, you'll then get a call the next week saying, absolutely loved you. Thank you so much. Would love to work with you again. We've got a wedding in the south of France. Would you be available? And can we put you forward to your client? You know, we had a lot of doors, and personally had a lot of doors closed in my face coming up, you know, and it's important not to let that, you know, dishearten you. Your time will come. If you're truly passionate about what you do, and, you know, the talent is there. Obviously, the talent has to be there.
Sure.
There are a lot of people who get by without it, with just the show and the smoke and mirrors. But for me, talent is kind of primary. You have to be able to execute, and then you have to be able to do it with kindness and with love and with positivity. And it will, in my humble opinion, it will always pave its way back to you. And my advice to this kind of younger generation who are trying to break into this industry is just that. Keep purveying good vibes, keep practicing, making sure that you are an absolute master of your craft, and keep making a good impression on every single person that you cross paths with. And I have no doubt that at some point you will get that opportunity that will then, you know, take you where you want to go.
I think that's the way life works. I think those are the fundamental building blocks of the game that we're playing. I think if you are just adamant that this is the area that I want to work in, sure, build the contacts, but absolutely, fundamentally, the talent and the skills got to be there. So you've got to put the hours in, and there is no way around that. I can't remember if I've said this, if I've shared this on camera. If I have, apologies if you've heard the story already. But I remember speaking to a saxophonist. I had a private gig, and I was speaking to an older saxophonist who just happened to be there as part of the party. And he'd like cut his teeth in the industry years before I'd even started playing. So he was an OG in the game. And I remember saying to him, you know, I want to be the best sax player in the UK. I want to be number one. Like, what do I have to do to be there? And he said he had a similar conversation with his teacher growing up. He said to his sax teacher, you know, I want to play like John Coltrane. I want to play like the big boys. And his sax teacher got angry with him. And he said, what do you mean you want to play like John Coltrane? I've seen how you practice. Are you prepared to play the key of C for 11 hours a day? Are you prepared to put the work in that's necessary to be on that level? And if you're not prepared, perish the thought. Go sweep some stairs, like clean dishes. Like it isn't given out for free. You've got to work for it. And I'll share a story actually, which you've just reminded me of in terms of when it comes to being genuine, caring, thoughtful, kind the whole way through. I got the opportunity I got a call for a gig, and it was a gig in London. The fee was set. It was actually around a little bit lower than what you normally get paid for in London, but it was a friend of mine who forwarded me the gig, so I humbly accepted it. And there was a lot of like hoo-ha, this was changing, that was changing. Initially, the playing time was at 8 p.m, so they said arrive around 6 for sound check. Then that changed to 2 for sound check,
Oh gosh.
which is like quite a leap.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I was like, okay, no worries. Like I was being as amenable as possible, really. Still maybe a little bit frustrated with the changes in time and whatnot, but I was working with them. Anyway, it turns out, and I didn't notice at the time, but it turns out that the gig was for Bukayo Saka.
Oh wow.
And it was for his birthday party. So the whole of the Arsenal team, Bukayo, all of their partners, WizKid, Santan Dave, and myself on the sax.
Wow.
In this small room. And I'm like, what is even going on? But, you know, as the day was going on, I didn't know that information. But I was just, you know, I was working with them. And that's one of the things they said to me after. They appreciated the fact that I was just easy with them, you know, and I didn't then charge them more money because surely they must be able to afford it. No, I appreciate the opportunity, whether it's for Saka, it's for yourself, Susie's wedding somewhere. If somebody's going to pay me to play or somebody's going to ask me to be at an event, I'm going to humbly accept that, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more. And that's always something that will always be said to myself when I leave a gig. And I just left an amazing 3-day event in Tuscany.
Great.
To come straight here. And it's a planner who I've worked with a few times. Lovely, lovely, lovely guy. And his whole team just said that exact same thing to me. Yeah, you're an amazing DJ and you always hit the nail on the head when you're on the decks, but you're just so easy to work with. And I think, you know, it counts for so much.
Yes.
In a world where everything can be so difficult and people can really throw around their weight and egos. I think it counts for so much just to be, like you said, amenable, easy to work with, kind, you know, open to changes. I think that honestly, yeah, it's so important. And to kind of to your earlier point, I just literally finished a book 5 minutes ago called Courage to be Disliked. And I mean, it's kind of based on a lot of philosophy and Adler's philosophy, and it's quite fluffy, but it you know, its core themes are very much what you just alluded to, in that you got to live in the here and now.
Yeah.
You can't think about wanting to be the best sax player. All you can do is keep playing sax to the best of your absolute ability, day in, day out, and you'll get there.
Yeah.
But if you think about that, it just won't happen. Obviously, you can set goals and you can be goal oriented. That's absolutely fair. But, you know, it kind of goes back to that basic notion of get your 10,000 hours. And I can say with full confidence that I've done more than that. You know, there was a time where I was playing 5-hour sets 6 nights a week for years, you know? So, you know, I think that kind of boils down to the crux of the point for the next generation. Obviously have your goals, set yourself your tasks, but take each day
Yes.
as it comes. You know?
Yes, absolutely.
Each day as it comes, give it your absolute all, and I have no doubt that you will find your path. It might not end up being playing sax, or if that's it might be something completely different. Like I said, I never set out to create an agency.
Yeah.
I never sat down and go, after I finish DJing, or as I get bigger as a DJ, I'm going to start bringing in my musicians, the people who I know, and create this whole roster. I just wanted to make sure that every gig I went to, I did my absolute best to kill it and leave a good impression on the people that cross paths with me. And here we are in the Amalfi Coast.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I know we're pressed for time, so I've got one more question for you, brother. And it's something I ask everybody I sit down with. What is the single most valuable opinion that you have of yourself? Let's find a better way to word it. What is the most valuable opinion you have of yourself, basically?
Good question. Again, it's not something that I've ever thought about, really. I try not to think about myself too much.
Okay.
But I think, I would say, honestly, what I feel most passionate about is kind of contributing to others.
Great.
Like, I feel like that the more I kind of learn about myself, and I'm kind of on this journey of a bit of a self-discovery at the moment. Like I was telling you, up by the pool, I've taken social media off my phone. I've read continuing to read all of these books, and I've understood that actually what brings me most happiness and gratification is actually being able to, put others on.
Yeah.
Like, Viraj.
Yes.
Viraj is like my little brother.
I love Viraj to pieces. Great guy.
And he's, he now works very closely with me within this agency.
Great.
He gigs for us weekly, and I went to school with his older brother.
Amazing.
And he's been like my kid brother since then. I'm 34 now. I went to uni quite a while ago, and he constantly says to me, and this is by no way me trying to, take away from his talent and what he's done and what he's achieved, and because what he's doing is incredible. He travels super regularly. He understands the game. I mean, he says it to me constantly. He became a DJ because of me. He saw me. I used to go around to his brother's house, his house, their family house, and he saw me, doing the gigs, and he followed in my footsteps. And he says it to me every day. I can't thank you enough. I don't know I don't know where my life would have gone
I love that.
If it wasn't for you, if I didn't have you to kind of look to, and you to kind of take me under your wing and give me all the gigs that you've given me and introduce me to all the people that you've introduced me to. So, and when I hear that, my heart just it just sings. It's an indescribable feeling, when you call me after the Royal gig in Jordan, I wasn't there. I was DJing a wedding in LA, and you were there with Martin and Joao, who's on this gig as well. And you said how amazing it went, and thank you so much for the opportunity. It's like, I don't need the thanks, but just to know that I've, facilitated that is, I think, for me, the most important thing. And it's kind of why I wake up, why I get up every morning and keep going, Ultimately, the ability to, contribute to others' journey is what really makes my heart sing.
Thanks for sitting down with me, brother.
Love you, brother, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
what a setting.
Pleasure. Brother, I mean, this is just glorious. And the fact that we're able to find a little bit of time between landing and then gig this evening, flight tomorrow.
Pizza by the pool. Met those New Zealanders.
A great couple.
Love them.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing, honestly. And it's all of that is part of the experience.
100.
All of that. The music isn't just being on the stage and performing somewhere. It's being able to meet people. It's being able to eat pizza from the land that pizza originated.
Crazy.
Do you know what I mean? And expanding your world. I think if you're going to do anything in life, you may as well do what you want to do, what your heart sings to do. And it's going to be scary. It's going to be difficult, and it's not going to be straightforward by any means.
No.
But at the end of the day, you really owe it to yourself
Yeah.
to try.
Yeah, 100. I couldn't agree more. But you know, my dad wanted me to be a lawyer, and he still to this day doesn't believe that what I'm doing is real. You know, I built this massive business. It's a decent
massive,
size,
brother.
It's a decent sized
It's
business.
massive, trust me.
We work with a lot of people. You know, hundreds of artists, hundreds of clients, and my dad still doesn't quite understand it. You know,
Yeah.
and had I followed the path that he had written for me, you know, go be a lawyer, be an accountant, be a doctor, I can safely say that I wouldn't have been happy, because I knew in my heart of hearts that I was creative, and music was always the center of my life. I was always the kid that got thrust into the middle of the dance floor at the family wedding to do the MJ dance.
Right.
I was all music, you know, music has always been the center of my life, and the fact that I've been able to, you know, create this life off of the back of my love of music is something that I will, you know, firstly be eternally grateful for, but more importantly, I still can't quite believe it. Like I said to them up there, like, you know, at times all the traveling, all the planes, all of the being away from the family, it's really difficult. But if 12-year-old me could see me now, and he heard me complaining about traveling for the last 5 days throughout the most beautiful locations in Italy to DJ at these amazing events, he would slap me in the face. I try to always kind of keep that in perspective, you know?
Absolutely. Let's get going, shall we?
Let's go, bro. Let's do this gig. Love you, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Of course, man. Always. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, bro.
And we've got the doggies in the background
Yeah,
singing
yeah.
away.
All right, what's the time? Are we ready to rock? 12:20,
Yes, we are ready
8:20.
to
All right.